Coming up on Fresno State Focus on Sports, we see how the volleyball team in their final home game of the season.
And we look at how the Bulldogs fared against the visiting Wyoming Cowboys over the weekend.
Plus, we dive into a Saturday night full of college football games that can affect playoff rankings. Fresno State Focus on Sports starts right now. Hello and welcome to Fresno State Focus on Sports. I'm Aaron Story.
And I'm Isaac Marquez. This is your Focus on Sports.
We start things off with Fresno State Athletics, which had a busy Saturday. Fresno State Athletics had 3 different sports playing at home on Saturday, starting with the volleyball team. The Boise State Broncos came to the Seymour Center for the Bulldogs' final home game of the season. The Broncos took control of the first set early, making it hard for the Dogs to get into a groove. The Broncos took set 1 25-15. The next 2 sets were a bit closer as the Bulldogs kept battling. Boise State took set 2 25-20 and set 3 25-21. The Bulldogs finished out the 2025 regular season this week on the road with matches against UNLV and San Diego State.
Just a couple hours after the volleyball game, the Seymour Center floor was changed for the men's basketball team who took on Utah Valley Wolverines. The Wolverines controlled the game early and led by as much as 14 points in the first half. The Dogs cut into the Wolverines' lead late in the first half, though, down 40-33 after the first 20 minutes of action. In the second half, guard Zayon Collins brought the Bulldogs back into the game, scoring 10 points in the first 3 minutes of the second half. Collins finished with a game high of 27 points, and with 24 seconds left in the game, freshman Deshaun Gorey nailed a go-ahead three-pointer to give the Dogs a 75-74 lead. The Bulldogs held on the rest of the way, capturing the come-from-behind win. 30 minutes after tip-off for the basketball team, the Fresno State football team kicked off their game against the Wyoming Cowboys at a rainy Valley Children's Stadium. The Bulldogs' rushing attack was on full display all game long and included a 12-yard rushing touchdown from running back Bryson Donaldson in the first quarter. Quarterback Carson Conklin got his first win at home as the Bulldogs' full-time starter. Conklin also threw his first touchdown pass as a Bulldog. Head coach Matt Entz talked postgame about his team's success in all facets of the game.
Complementary football. Never a panic on our offensive side because we knew, defensively we were going to handle our business, and special teams did a good night, especially when you're dealing with the weather the way it was.
The Bulldogs will be back at home one more time this season when they celebrate senior night against the Utah State Aggies this coming Saturday. I mean, the Bulldogs are now second in the Mountain West with a 4-2 conference record. They've won their last 2 games, and after Utah State, they close out the season at San Jose State. Is this team a true Mountain West title contender?
I believe they are. They're ending the season on a right note, and, them being good as a rushing team is important in games when it's raining and when it's slippery out there, and, they're doing what they have to do to hopefully contend for the title.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big defense guy, and Fresno State defense, they got it down. I mean, just nice to see that bend but don't break mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just every time they're out there, just putting pressure. We have Azilian Hamilton getting interceptions, locking down the wide receivers. So it's just nice to see. But not to mention those running backs. I mean, like you said, they could pound the rock all night long.
Yeah.
Speedy Luke, Donaldson, Gilliam, Ramirez, you name it, they got it.
Got it. Yep.
And I don't see anyone stopping that run game anytime soon. So that Mountain West title is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I believe so as well. So I think they have what it takes, and they can get it done.
Especially in the wet and rainy season, like you're saying.
Yep.
And the weather was actually an obstacle this Saturday, not only for the team, but also for the media outlets that were covering the game. Jasmine Alvarado is here with one of the Collegian's editors to talk about what it was like to be a photographer in the pouring rain.
Yeah, so I'm here with Chase Gauthier. So what was it like covering the game in the rain? What did you wear? How did you prepare?
Well, it was fun. So that was my first time shooting in the rain. So I kind of just looked it all up beforehand. Got rain gear, like raincoats and all that stuff. But specifically like a really good rain cover for my camera, just to kind of keep it all dry, the camera body and like the internals and stuff. But yeah, it was pretty challenging to try to deal with that little cover the whole time since it was my first time.
Yeah, and were you ever worried about your equipment in any way?
Yeah, I had a camera die in the first quarter, and I couldn't really tell if it was the battery or if something got wet inside, so I wasn't really, sure. I'm still trying to figure that out, but yeah, I was worried about the equipment the entire time, yeah.
Yeah, And was it ever difficult to keep up with the game? I know it was slippery and kind of going back and forth between plays and stuff.
Yeah, it was a little different because usually I would be walking around the field a lot more, but because of the rain and because you kind of had to deal with all those different things, I try to just stay in one spot. And whenever you stay in one spot, it's going to be a little difficult to try to get everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say maybe you happened to miss any key moments or anything because of the rain?
Yeah, it's definitely like a couple of the main touchdowns towards the end there. I missed and was trying to lean in, and then you would get a bunch of water on the front of the lens, and it would be a blurry shot. So
Yeah. Okay. Any advice for photographers in the future, maybe?
I would say definitely have a lens hood because that's the one thing I didn't have. It's a little thing that kind of covers the front of the lens. If I had one of those, I probably would have done a little bit better.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us.
Of
I'll
course.
send it back to the desk.
Now looking at the national level, there were plenty of games across the country that had playoff implications. The 5th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs hosted the 10th-ranked Texas Longhorns in an SEC matchup. After a close first 3 quarters, the Bulldogs scored 21 unanswered points in the 4th quarter en route to a 35-10 victory. Moving over to another SEC matchup, the 4th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide hosted the 11th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Alabama took a 1-point lead halfway through the 3rd quarter, but John Mateer and the Sooners wouldn't back down. A field goal early in the final quarter was enough for the Sooners to hold on and beat the Crimson Tide on the road. Isaac, there were some big SEC games this weekend. What were your thoughts on these games?
I mean, let's talk about Texas A&M first. Those comeback from behind wins, I mean, you need those. It shows that the team's human, obviously, but they got rid of that invincible feeling. So now they can go and compete with whoever now.
Yeah, I can only imagine what that halftime speech was for the Aggies to get them pumped up to score 28 unanswered in the second half. It's pretty impressive, and I can only imagine what the locker room was like after the game.
I don't know. I don't even want to know.
Yeah, a big SEC win like that, at the end of the season too, it's a lot for these playoffs, for these people picking who's going to be in these playoffs. So a big win for the Aggies and some great SEC football this weekend for sure.
Another win for Georgia, too. They took down Texas. Texas, what a fall from grace. I mean, they're one of the top teams right now. They're, I think, around 10.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be interesting to see how they end up in the season after all the hype, in the offseason.
For sure.
The Fresno State men's basketball team is back in the Seymour Center tonight at 6 to take on the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks. This will be the Bulldogs' 6th straight home game of the season, and the women's basketball team won't return until the last week of November. The Lady Dogs take on the 25th ranked Washington Huskies on Wednesday. The swim and dive team will be competing in the 2 different events, one at the Utah Tech Trailblazers Invite and the Trojan Diving Invite. Both are from Thursday until Saturday.
Coming up, we take a look at how Week 11 went for a couple NFL teams.
Plus, we break down recent games from the West Coast teams in the NBA. Stay tuned when your focus on sports returns.
I got the Bulldog spirit up in my head.
Up in my head.
Up in my head.
I got that bulldog spirit up in my head, up in my head to say. I got that bulldog spirit deep in my heart, deep in my heart, deep in my heart. Got that bulldog spirit deep in my heart, deep in my heart to stay. I got that bulldog spirit down in my toes, down in my toes, down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit down in my toes, hey, down in my toes to stay. I got that bulldog spirit up in my head, deep in my heart, down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit all over me to stay. I got that bulldog spirit
deep in my heart.
deep in my heart, deep in my heart.
Week 11 featured multiple divisional matchups, including 2 NFC West games. The San Francisco 49ers took on the Arizona Cardinals. Christian McCaffrey and the Niners took an early lead and never gave it up. McCaffrey and George Kittle both scored 2 touchdowns on the afternoon as the Niners cruised to a 41-22 victory. Heading further west to LA, the Rams hosted the Seattle Seahawks wearing their midnight mode jerseys. The Rams secondary was all over the field as they intercepted Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold 4 times. Former Bulldog Devontae Adams had a quiet game but had a 1-yard touchdown reception. Despite forcing 4 turnovers, the Rams narrowly escaped with a 21-19 win. The Rams currently sit in first place of the NFC West. All right, so there was a lot of NFC West games going on this weekend. Isaac, what were your thoughts on these NFC West games?
I mean, NFC West is such a powerhouse. It seems like every year they have like 2 or 3 teams that are really good contenders, and this year's no different. The Rams, who are my pick for a Super Bowl, I mean, they just have the weapons, the defense. Matthew Stafford at that age is still slinging it. I mean, they have Puka Nacua, who's a top 3 receiver in the league. Just so many weapons on that team.
Yeah, speaking about West, the AFC West, the Broncos and Chiefs had a good game yesterday, but the Broncos ended up winning and are now 9-2 and look like they're going to take the AFC West. And the last time they took the division, they won the Super Bowl back in 2015. So I know Broncos fans are hoping that repeats itself this year.
We'll see if Bo Nix has that magic. And one team that didn't have magic this week was the Chargers. I mean, they lost 6-35 to the Jaguars. The Jaguars have beaten a lot of AFC West teams this year, so I don't know what's in the water they got over there, but I mean, 35-6 is just
it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Then the last team in the AFC West is the Las Vegas Raiders. You know, they don't have the best record, but they play tonight versus the Cowboys. And you know those fan bases are really diehard about their team, so it should be a good battle tonight in Las Vegas for sure.
I'm actually a Raider fan, and seeing my team this year it brings a lot of tears to my eyes. But I'll probably tune in tonight. Former Bulldog Darren Bland for the Cowboys, he will be playing, so it's always nice to see representation in the NFL. Now we go from the gridiron to the hardwood. Let's start with the Golden State Warriors, who took on the New Orleans Pelicans. Warriors guard Moses Moody started the game on a heater. He shot 7 for 7 from 3 with 21 points in just the first quarter. He ended up with a career-high 32 points and a win, despite Curry's 9-point performance. The final score was 124-106, bringing the Dubs' record to a 9-6 on the season. Now we go over to Boston as the Clippers take on the Tatum-less Celtics. In a close matchup, Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard held it down for Boston, scoring 63 combined points. Pritchard shot 60% from 3, and Brown led both teams in rebounds with 13. Harden led the Clippers with 37 points, but was ultimately not enough. Missing the game-tying shot that would have sent the game to overtime, the Clippers fall to 4-9, and the Celtics are now 7-7 on the season. I mean, a lot of surprises in the season so far. A lot of teams doing good that didn't expect to do good, and one team that has stood the test of time this season, the OKC Thunder.
For sure. They're reigning champions, winning that Game 7 versus Indiana last year. They're picking up right where they left off last year. Shea's an MVP. Chet, he's young, he's good, and they don't even have their all-star Jalen Williams yet, so they're killing it.
This team is so young, so talented, and their future, they have so many draft picks to choose from going down the line. So, in my opinion, they're future-proof. They will be here to stay. It's not a one-off stint. They are here to stay.
But I think 1 or 2 teams that can maybe knock them off is the Nuggets and Nikola Jokic. He's putting up another MVP-type season, averaging the most assists and rebounds as a center, which is super impressive.
Yeah.
And as well as the Lakers, Luka Doncic, he's killing it, and they're getting LeBron back soon. I think, if they start getting it rolling, I think anything can really happen in the NBA.
Yeah, it's nice to see LeBron coming back, but it's also sad to see someone like Victor Wembanyama. He is out with a calf strain. It'll be a few weeks, and calf strains tend to linger. So hopefully he comes back fully healthy. Fingers crossed. But I love seeing Wemby play.
Yeah, he's definitely looks like he almost breaks basketball out there with the things he does. So should be an interesting end to the season for sure. With all the sports that played at home on Saturday, it's only fitting we talk about our top dog from the weekend. Isaac, who's your pick?
My pick is Matt Entz. He's actually a coach, not a player. So, Bulldogs came 2 back-to-back losses. He does. He comes back and, he might win out the rest of the season. So to rally and mid-season form and do that is so impressive. And Matt Entz, he deserves all the props for that.
So for my dog of the week would be Aaron Judge. He didn't play a game this weekend. He hasn't played a game for the Bulldogs in quite some time, but he won his 3rd MVP over the weekend. And, he's just representing the Dogs in the right way and by his play on the field and off the field, and he's just...
It's like his 3rd MVP in 4 years, something crazy like that.
Something crazy like that. Something that is honorable for Fresno State for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And that's our show for today.
Your Monday Focus on Sports won't return until after Thanksgiving break.
But our very own Evan Prater will be back to give you your Focus on Sports this Wednesday during the newscast.
We'll see you then.